Hi, today we are going to build resonators once again. And if you watch my previous videos, then you might already know that this topic can get pretty complicated in a very short amount of time. But today I'm going to try to build up everything from scratch and explaining also the smaller steps required. And we are going to build up a complex structure different than the previous coupled strings. But they will make sense and they will lead us to something that's really usable and something that doesn't require that parallel processing thing, but instead it will be serial, and I hope it will be more intuitive to use. And yeah, without further ado, then jump into it and let's start building. So first things first, we need something that excites the resonator. And for that, I'm going to use the trigger output of the MIDI note node, which sends out a value of 1 whenever you hit a key, and that's all what it does. So it's ideal for excitation. Sounds like this. And if we plug a state variable filter on it, we can filter out frequencies from this blip, which contains all the frequencies at the same level. So we can filter out anything. This is why this works. So this is an ideal resonator, start for a resonator. We can also add some noise to this by make this a bit more random. So let's create a white noise node, again in, and offset this whole thing, this noise by 1. So this way, the output of this add node will be in between 0 and, oh, sorry. So it will be between 0 and 2 if the gain in is on 1, and it will be exactly 1 when the gain in is on 0. So if we can multiply this way the bandpass output, and let's take a listen. And we can also add some filtering here, like let's say 1-pole modulated, and we can remove the high frequency content if we like. Like this maybe. And yeah, let's create the most basic resonator, comb filter. Let's create a designer, call it comb space 1. And this is foreshadowing. We are numbering things already, so there will be more comb filters, and with this naming convention, with space 1, if you make a copy, then the indexing is going to be right. So let's build a comb filter. A comb filter is really basic. It's built around a delay. So a signal comes into the delay, and we will want to feed it back. So what we delayed is going to come back to the input of the delay. That's a comb filter. So we need to add it to the input. This is a comb filter. Basically, this is an echo, but with very low delay times. Nothing special. And the output is the sum of the input. So yeah, let's create the delay time and an input for the feedback value. And this was just pressing I above the input box. And for convenience sake, I'm going to create outputs from the inputs as well. So if something will need the same values, then we can pass it from this node instead of patching through the whole patch. Maybe this won't be needed, but probably they will be needed. If not all of these, but some for sure. So this value will appear on the output as well. And now we have a patch that looks like this. So we can plug in the input, we can plug the output, and yeah, we need the delay value, which comes from the MIDI notes pitch. So we convert it to milliseconds because that's what the computer needs. So we will go from pitch to milliseconds, plug it in, and now we need a feedback. And for that, we can go with this basic setup. And now we have a pretty complex Karplus-Strong patch already. Works. So yeah, this is a basic Karplus-Strong patch. The only problem is that if we hit a low note and several octaves higher another one, it's out of tune. That's because of this Z sign here, which tells us that there's feedback going on and there's one sample of delay happening. We can work against it. That's quite simple. Let me move this aside a bit. And all we need to do is to subtract the length that one sample, the length of this one sample delay. So the delay time is just one sample lower than what we tell it. And this way I hit a key and the same key is several octaves higher and they are in tune. And I think this is useful. It's always nice if things are in tune. So we have a working comb filter. We can start enhancing this patch. And sorry, I deleted the feedback, which I didn't want to do, because we will add one more thing. We will add the position, the hit position where we hit this resonator. I call this position. And for this, we are going to create an input called X, which is just I recently called this X and Y. Don't know why. So inputs are X, audio input is X, audio output is Y in my patches because this is faster to do. And I'm going to subtract a delay from the input. Basically, this is an inverted feed-forward comb filter. So let's create the delay input for the comb filter, and we are going to multiply this delay time by the position. And let's imagine that the delay time represents the length of the resonator. And if we multiply the delay time by 0, that means that we hit the resonator on the edge. So then there is, we do not even hit it. And from there on, we go up, and we are halfway on by the resonator. And from there on, things would be the same. So that it makes no sense to go higher. It's fine if we are by 0.5. So in between 0 and 0.5, we have the position. And the delay time is going to be the same as it was before. And now you can see we have in the patch a diagonal line, which is not a problem. It's part of the patch, but it's harder to overlook things if I like straight times. So let's pass the delay value like this. And now we can plug the delay value into the computer as well. And how nicer is this patch looking? It's a lot nicer. And now we have a hit position. I call this hit position. I leave this as position and call this one hit position. you get the idea. So this is a nice feature, I think. And we are now we can start to build our resonator. So let's cut this computer here, create a new designer, and call it resonator, and let's enter it. Inside this resonator, and let's call this resonator space 1. Sorry, let's go back. We have here one computer here. Let's make 2 of it. So now we have 2, and the upper one is going to receive the input. No, let's start with the lower one. That's going to receive the input, and the upper one is going to receive the input and another value, which we will call coupling. And the upper one is going to be our output, so y, let's call it in x, and we will add the lower to it, and here we will multiply by the feedback, and that's going to come to the upper output, and the lower output will output the underlying CPI. So this is the coupling output that we are going to use. I hope this I hope that this was followable. I don't know if there's a word like this, but I hope it makes sense. And now we need delay and feedback values. So here's the delay, here's the feedback. Nice. And we can pass it to the other node as well. So we have a resonator ready, which should work out of the box. But for convenience sake, I wanna do what I did earlier, pass the values. So let's send out the input, underline x. Let's send out the delay, underline d. And let's send out the feedback, underline FB, because this is convenient for me. So now we have a resonator. We can plug in the input, we can plug in the delay, and we can patch this in. And actually, we didn't change anything. It's going to sound exactly the same, except that I forgot the feedback. So it's the same. It's just 2 computers doing the same job, but one of them is changed by the feedback and the other is added. So we divided the job of the feedback. So now the feedback is split into 2 parts, and this way they won't resonate that much, and they won't cause that much trouble for us. But you will hear it soon if we start to couple things up, because now we use one more thing that I would like to do is to be able to detune the delays. So I'm gonna put a divider here. And you see how nice it is that we divide on these input. But since that value that comes in here is passed to these, we do not have to divide these anymore, and we do not have to patch anything. One is enough. And these will be called detune. And let's create another resonator. And let's pass the input. Let's pass the delay time and the feedback value like this. And we just need to sum these 2 together. And yeah, detune should be 1 here. I think it's better to multiply here because that's a bit more forgiving. but we will see. I changed it to multiply for the time being. So yeah, here let's create a node and go from 1 to let's say 4, and do the same here. And yeah, one of them just blacked for some reason. Yeah, because that's now it's fine. This was set to 0. And as you can hear, these are just 2 strings detuned. So let's use these coupling outputs and inputs. Let's plug these into the other one. Wow, it changed a lot. We get a really metallic sound. Let's remove the coupling and let's create another resonator, a third one. And I do this just to show you how, and even a fourth one, to show you how this works. So let's share the feedback, let's share the delay, and let's share the input. So they all receive the X. And in this case, when we have these many resonators, we need to create a matrix. And this matrix is going to have 4 inputs. I space 1 for add 8 nodes because it's faster to work with, and for O1, O space 1. So for O outputs. And I copy paste this patch 4 times. I mean, let's have 4 of these laying around. And all the additions need to have, we need to, so these add nodes need to be connected to all the inputs that do not have the same index. So add 1 should not contain I1, add 2 should not contain I2, add 3 should not contain I3, but all of them should contain the others. So add 1 should have I2, I3, and I4. So this straight line is forbidden, and you can make it mechanically, like you can patch in everything like this, and just don't care about straight lines. But make sure that each node is going to each input like this, and then you can go wrong. And here, remove the straight line, remove the straight line, remove the straight line, remove the straight line, and we have a nice spider web. But like this, it's more aesthetic, harder to read, but you don't want to read this. And now we have these metrics, and then we can plug in the first coupling into the first, the second into the second, the third into the third, the fourth into the fourth, and the outputs vice versa. And now this is 4 resonators coupled. And let me change one more thing. So let's set the minimum here to 1 and the maximum to 0, and let's do the shape like this, so it's this curvature, and this way we have lots of space in between 1 and 0.9 and a few below. So we can set the feedback really long. So yeah, we have a coupling matrix inserted, and this is a pretty complex patch, I think. I don't think anyone wants to work with this, but this is even simpler than the multi-channel settings I showed before. The sound is a bit different, but it's very nice. The problem with these patches that there's some delays involved, and it's hard to keep track of the delays, and it would be better if the patch would look something different, and we can solve this. So I removed the matrix already, because if you remember, then we can do stuff like we add all the coupling outputs together. No, sorry, the patch wasn't right before, but the sonic experience would have been the same. I forgot to connect the Y outputs. And here are the coupling outputs summed. And what we want to do is to plug these into all the coupling inputs. Press M and like this. And yeah, now these controllers are pretty much in the way. But this way we are fine. And as you can remember, before our goal was to include all, so this coupling should have received all the other coupling outputs except the one that's coming out from them. So we can solve this inside here. We just need to subtract what we output. So if I put a cone here, then we need to subtract this from there. And yeah, this is fine. But we can see that here are two Zs, which may not be a problem. They may be a problem, so it's a nice thing to fix it, because the delay should happen exactly here. And we can trick Alpha Forever to do this. It's not intuitional, but we can do it. So we need to create a node called involve, and we need to add an input, which is just the dummy input. This will be the input that is going to be processed first, and we need to create an X input and a Y output. And this way, Alpha Forever will first read what's on this input and build the processing tree up like based on this. And the input is going to come here, and the output is going to be this. So if we plug this here and there, and we plug this here, the Z goes to the right place. And yeah, this is not a basic thing, but this can be done like this. So if we replace all the resonators now, we have the same resonator back. There's something wrong here, but this should work. Coupling, delay, feedback, and X. And the Y output should go there. And now it's okay. Then I must have patched something to the wrong place. I don't remember anymore. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, this works. I did not do things wrong intentionally, so what I wanted to do was right. But somewhere it did not turn out well. But anyways, we have this patch, and there's still these delays that annoy me a lot, and even this part is not something that I really like, and this part either. And we will also remove these notes, and we won't have those ugly delays, since we know that we wanna sum the couplings, so we can create a bus which sums them. So we can call this CPS and CPS input, and another one is going to be the underlying CPS. So here we will just, as you can see, here we have the coupling value, and we add it to the bus. And we can replace all the other nodes to include this bus. And this way, we just have to, I forgot to replace them. So yeah, now I press R, and then I just need to patch this CPS from one to the other. And in the end, we have the coupling that we need. So we can create a cone and come here to the start and plug it into the coupling input. So yes, this way the patch looks a lot more clean. We have one add date node less. Let me move these controllers to somewhere else. Yeah, that's somewhere else. And if we take a look at this, then we can do the same with the Ys, because the output is just the sum of the Ys. And this way we just need to put an add node here and create an input for Y underline, like this. Replace the nodes and move them a bit lower, because we have one more input. So Y goes into Y underline, Y goes into Y underline, not from there but from here, and from here. And if the node order was nicer, then we would not have such a nice texture there. But basically we did it. So we have a structure that is completely free of matrices, doesn't add additional delays to the thing except of this one, which is required for feedback. And inside the nodes we have a really clean structure. So, and if I play this, it should work. It should sound exactly the same as before. And it does. And from this point on, our main basic setup is done. We can actually start working on this to make it usable. So I don't like that the detune is different. So it's fine if it's customizable. It's fine if you can have a different value for everything. But for me, it's very intuitive if the first one is always on 1, because that's the root frequency. And then you multiply the second one, you divide the third one, and you multiply the fourth one once again, and by 1, and then you multiply this, because that was a multiplication. And basically now all you need to do is to create one knob, and this is going to be the detune. And you can go from 1 to 4, let's say, and this is a spread basically. And this is nice, and you still have the heat position, you still have the SVF, you still have these. You can also use the high pass output, you could crossfade here. And we can also insert damping into the system, because from this point on our resonator is basically just waiting for us to customize it and to make it our own. So this is just the bare bones of the system. And you can also add more resonators, you can remove, and it can be fixed pretty fast. especially when the node order or if the plug order is right, then you could also just take one and just quickly patch it. Now the plug order isn't right, so you can do that, but whatever. So one more thing that I would like to show in this video is, for that we are going to come back to the simple computer to show you the effect. And I have another video on this topic, because if you insert a filter, a dampening filter here, you get detuning. And I found that using the bandpass output of the SVF, doesn't detune, but yeah, it's a bit quirky because this doubles the volume. So you have to multiply it by 0.5 first, and it changes with the resonance. Basically, maybe it's better if I use the 2P filter, because that's already doing the job, and maybe we do not even need to multiply by 0.5, so sorry. Here we need a pitch value and a resonance value, and basically this is what we need into the feedback loop, and we do not have to care about the SVF anymore, because this is an SVF too, just with different scaling. So this way we can create a control for the pitch between 0 and 150, and we can create a control for the resonance in between 0 and, let's say, 150 again, because here we can go really wide. And this doesn't detune that much. It doesn't detune at all, because the bandpass filters is not the bandpass filter is not affecting the phase by the cutoff frequency, so it's it's the best you can get. And you can also go higher and lower, so you have lots of options. And by setting this to something non-linear, you have lots of options. So let's replace the computer with this. Replace done. And also create 2 additional inputs for dampening and width, DMP and EDT like width. And yeah, also let's create the outputs here, so our patch is staying green, and if we didn't do this, things would be a mess. Then you need to be a genius to see through it, and I need to do work like this because I'm not a genius. I need to see through things. And then we can create the output for dampening, and we can create the output for width. Nice. And yeah, we need to align nodes once again, but later on you don't have to. Let's replace and move these nodes. These nodes lower. And let's move these lower as well. Now they don't overlap anymore. It would be so nice if we would have distribution, then you just would have to move one of these lower, and then with S you could align fast. But for some reason we don't have it yet. Okay, now let's patch the DMP and the width like that, 2 like this, and 2 like this, and we can create controls for that. If we don't have already, we have. This is the DMP, this is the width, and we don't need this computer here. We just need to like this here. And we have dampening and we have resonance orbit. Where do I move these controls? I will move them here. EMP, dampen and width. Oh, these sounds are so cool. So you know why I I hope you also hear why I like this kind of synthesis. It's amazing. And one more thing that we can still add is dispersion. And I could have done it before, but I didn't. So let's use a one-pole filter here and subtract the high pass from the low pass. And this is a one-pole low pass filter that we did these two like this. And we have a P parameter here, and we will call it dispersion. And we will also create an output for that and call it underline dispersion. Nice. Let's replace. Sorry. And let's move these guys a bit lower. And then we can patch in the dispersion as well. And create an input for dispersion. And an output as well. And yeah, we have the resonator ready. So this should be a lot of fun to work with. Let me move this a bit lower and also these, and let's replace the resonators as well. And now we can patch in the dispersions. This and continue this and this. And if you don't want to have all the resonators being the same, no problem at all. You can change the dispersion, you can change the dampening and customize them for yourself. Then things will behave like you have two. So think of these as resonating objects that touch each other. So this resonator is touching that. You can change the material, so then you can change the dampening, you can change the dispersion, and then different materials will interact. But for the time being, I'm leaving them the same because I enjoy the sound, basically. So let's call these dispersion and go from 0 to 150 because that's basically a filter. Very metallic, very gong-like. And we can multiply this trigger by the velocity. Like this. And yeah, you get the idea. From this point on, it's only up to you where you take this, and it's lots of fun. And you can create percussions, you can create melodic instruments like strings and beats, and completely wicked bass sounds and everything. And this is a whole new world even for me, and it's lots of fun. And yeah, this can be. Sorry. You get the idea. Sorry, I got a bit carried away, a bit playing around with it. It's just fun to explore sounds and do something new. And maybe this video got a bit longer than expected, but I hope that you were able to follow it through. I'm going to upload this patch to our Discord, but I hope you will have fun with it. But for me, the best thing would be if you would give it a go and try it for yourself, or challenge yourself on building it and understanding everything, why we do and what we do. And yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time, and bye bye.